This is the man who wants to lead our nation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Alright. Yeah, I mean,
Now, today's a half day, so I ain't gonna keep you out there all day like my opponent. You know what I'm saying?
His household beef.
or someone.
The United States of America is one of the greatest nations that the world has ever seen.
Amen.
It's the land of the free, home of the brave, and land of opportunity. It's the world's open door for democracy, or at least that's the picture painted by most Republicans. But what is the truth of the United States of America? Sure, we offer an elaborate new way of life to those who wash up on our shores in search of a better way of life for them and their families. But what keeps these people from enjoying the full American dream that promised the Republicans and Terrence? The State of the Union is not perfect, and the values of the right-wing Republicans ensure that it stays that way. They want to put in place policies like House Bill 87 that gives way for racial profiling of Hispanics, Arabs, and other minorities. They also advocate for the protections of rights of citizens under the Constitution of the United States, but at the same time, they argue against pro-choice. They give the right of women to choose the course of their lives during their pregnancies. Instead, they rather make that decision for us, ladies and gentlemen. It's very sad. They said they want to help the people, but they hated the idea of the redistribution of wealth that would have fairly no impact on the rich who would be given and no impact on rich begin and it dramatically help the poor, poverty-stricken people who desperately need it so bad. So do they really care about the common people like you and me? Hell no. They don't care. If they did, they wouldn't be so selfish as to hold up bills in Congress that would help millions. Just because they were suggested by another party. Or they wouldn't use hostile politics just to pass agenda, no matter how bad it is in the long run, like Reaganomics, for instance. If you ask any true right-wing Republican, like Terrence, who their favorite president is, without doubt, they'll tell you Ronald Reagan. But if you take a deeper look into the statistics at the time of this Reagan era, you'll realize that poverty was at one of its all-time highs. And drugs became a major problem all across the United States. Gang violence was off the charts. It became so bad that the city of Los Angeles was considered a war zone for the number of deaths they had in a year. But why do Republicans seem to ignore such a significant issue like these when it comes to politics? Probably because these issues are not the issues of the class of people who fit their demographics. And that's exactly why how the Republicans operate. They only look out for the good of their own. Instead of country first, it's buddies first. Oh yeah, the buddy system been paying off just good for them for a long time. And honest Americans like you and me have been the ones paying the debt. In closing, I leave you with a great quote from a Democrat president who shares the same feelings I have toward the Republicans. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I know you want to do it, sir. I know you want to do it.
Drop the mic, drop it.
Independent, moderate view of America, somewhere in between Democrat and Republican. And I must say, I'm pretty sure this is Terrence's personal viewpoint. Right? Okay. But I'm just saying, what? That you're super Republican, yeah?
That was Terrence. Look at blood on the paper.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But, ladies, I do want to say that Jeremy is a moderate. He's not super Democratic. I just want to make sure everybody knows that.
Thank you for putting me on the record.
Yeah.
This is the most.
But he also tends to agree with the most liberal views.
And I've also agreed with. Wait,
if it looks like it does, walks like it does, works like it does.
Go ahead.
Where's your sign?
Alright, now, we have Cameron to give us the moderate viewpoint, And,
Get under 5 minutes.
and Cameron's good. Cameron's good. All right. So whenever you're ready,
He knows.
All right.
I'm ready.
Although you hear these two very diverging opinions about how this country should be run, you'll be happy to know that mine is one of moderation. I believe this nation will benefit from a steady, progressive agenda provided by an independent point of view. We've already seen what an extremist left-wing agenda and an extremist right-wing agenda has done for this nation. There are a few issues with which I would like to elaborate on from a moderate's point of view. The first of these issues is inevitably our national defense. My opponent, Mr. Thomas, will be happy to know that I believe national defense is our #1 priority. We must protect the institution of this nation at all costs. We are the symbol of democracy in our world today, and it must stay that way. My view is that we should be heavily armed, making invasion or usurpation by a domestic tyrant excessively risky. This is what the Founding Fathers clearly intended for the U.S. The next of these issues, almost just as touchy, is abortion. I personally oppose abortion, but I do not believe the decision should be made by the government. I believe when a woman makes the decision to have an abortion, she should be advised on what she's doing and make sure she's doing it for the right reasons. Circumstances should be taken into consideration as well before the final decision is made between the woman and the physician. I do not think the government should meddle in this decision as well as fund it in any way. One more issue I'd like to spend a little bit more time on is our government-run healthcare. I'm against anything government regulated, especially our healthcare. Honestly, how hard is it to improve our healthcare as is? We already are facing a severe nursing shortage in many areas of the nation. Many doctors have considered early retirement because of government-run healthcare. We cannot afford to add $47 million to coverage and reduce the number of doctors. Instead, we need to keep those doctors in the office for more patient visits, not fewer. And we need to give potential doctors a reason to enter the medical profession. This last issue is a very serious one within politics today, the national deficit. Should we rely on government bailouts proposed by both President Bush and President Obama? No. We should never have even considered this as a method to stabilize our ever-fluctuating economy. Bailouts are always bad for the taxpayer, for the economy, and for business. When the Democrats previously controlled Congress, they spent a lot of our hard-earned money on entitlement programs and pork-barrel spending. When the Republicans gained control of Congress, they spent even more of our hard-earned dollars in the same reckless manner. Then Democrats regained control of the House in 2006 and have only added to the increasing government debt without slowing the spending of their Republican colleagues. We can either, federal debts aren't going away, and there are but two choices we can make. We can either tighten our belt a bit today or force our children and grandchildren to starve tomorrow. It's time that we start expecting our representatives in Washington to act with the national checkbook as we do with our family checkbooks. You have seen what my counterparts' agendas have to offer. The left offers you higher taxes, bigger government, and more regulation. The right offers overt militarism, censorship, drug laws, and authoritarian tendencies. I don't know about you, but neither of these sounds very attractive to me. So Mr. Baines, Mr. Thomas, I'll leave you with this. Is regulated freedom really freedom at all?